Alrighty, let's talk, babe. I said I'm live. um, I'm trying to see if any wait till at least maybe one viewer. I don't think I see anybody though. Babe, is that you? Okay. I think there's a second person. Okay. So today I'll be talking about COVID PPE and where to buy them. Some things to know when you're going to purchase COVID masks and other things that prevent the spread of COVID. Um, so firstly, maybe let's talk a little bit about what COVID is. I think there's some general misconceptions around what the virus is and what it does. So firstly, COVID, I think it's just kind of a term that we just use easily to describe what it is, but is a virus in the SARS family. Some years ago, there was a SARS outbreak in China that some of us may remember. So it's part of the SARS family, which is a upper respiratory virus. So COVID is similar in that way, but different than the SARS of that time in terms of the systemic impact that it has on the body. It doesn't just affect the lungs, but the heart and other major organs, including the brain. So we definitely want to do our best to prevent the acquisition of COVID and spreading it to others. Um, Also, I think we also need to have an understanding that the death toll is not the only way to think about the severity of COVID, but what the fallout is in terms of people's health afterward. They've tallied that the excess death has caused American 2.5 million life years thus far, meaning that there's an indication that people who have COVID are deemed recovered will not live as long as they would have if they had not gotten COVID. And that is because of the impact on their lungs and their hearts. They found that nearly 60% of people with COVID have systemic heart damage. That is something that they'll have to live with the rest of their life. So we'll have a lot more people who are young who are now disabled due to the virus. So we shouldn't just look at the death toll, which is staggering in and of itself, but the long term impacts on people's health and how many more people will now be disabled because of the virus. So, with that in mind, let's see, how do we protect others and protect ourselves? So, um, I think the general understanding is that masks do protect others from us. So, let's say we have COVID and don't know because we're asymptomatic. So, we wear a mask to protect other people so they don't get it from us. But I do want people to understand that there are ways that you can protect yourself and not just rely on other people and what kind of mask they wear or how well they wear it or things like that. How can you protect yourself in the meantime? So, one way is to buy masks that are not just simply cloth or made out of cotton, but masks that have filters that you can insert. So, one mask in particular that I bought recently is made by Honeywell. I do a lot of reading about the efficacy of cloth masks or masks that are not made out of uh, things that are like N95 material, which is like the gold standard that health physicians wear or doctors and nurses wear to protect them from COVID, along with other PPE that I'll talk about. But Honeywell has made masks. This is what it comes in. It's a plastic bag. This was $30 on the mask and the filters that come with it. So this is a mask. They're one size. So this is for an adult. I don't believe they have kid sizes for the Honeywell mask just yet, but this is the should fit most adults. So it comes with the mask, and you insert a filter. So about these filters, I will say now that all filters are not made equally. There is some research done to say about the efficacy of masks and how they're woven and how the inserts or the filters are constructed. So upon reading about Honeywell's filters, they talk about the particular matter that it filters. So they said zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.3 microns, which is incredibly small, but that's the best way to measure the size of viruses. They're incredibly small organisms. So they're saying that these filters can filter something as small as a virus. Now, this has not been tested specifically for protection against COVID, the virus itself, but they're talking about the general efficacy around filtering viruses in general in terms of size of the virus itself. So just want to keep that in mind. It does explicitly say that on these packages. Um, so yes, so down here they'll have disclaimers that covers authorized by the FDA for emergency use. So from my understanding from Honeywell, just to make sure you have a better, I'll be posting links as well so you can go directly to these masks. But I believe Honeywell got some type of clarification or distinction from the FDA that these masks were cleared for protection during this time. There was a shortage of masks, and I know a lot of other manufacturers who make other things, like Honeywell, who makes fans and other appliances. They streamlined their manufacturing to make masks that were deemed appropriate for emergency use during COVID. That was a very important distinction for me when I was looking for the mask. There's tons out there. I can't speak on the efficacies of other ones. If you have ones that you use now or interested in, send me a link and I'll gladly read through some of their information about how they tested the mask or why they deem that their mask is better than others out there. But I can tell you now, I feel safe and I feel my husband is safe wearing a Honeywell mask. We initially bought a lot of masks from Korea when this first happened, but you can't find those anymore. And those were top of the line. And we've been wearing those since March. But, you're supposed to throw those out. You can't keep wearing them. They have a lifespan. So do these cloth masks. I'll talk a little bit more about maintenance on these. But I feel like this will protect him while he's out working and protect myself as someone that is immune compromised. So this mask is very it's comfortable. We've tried them on. You can adjust the straps. This is probably one of the better constructions I've seen on the market thus far. So definitely keep that in mind. So with the cloth mask, I would say you should probably wash this at minimum once a week. If you can wash it every other day, I think that would be best. Not only just in terms of COVID, but just overall sanitary, keeping it clean so your face doesn't break out and things like that. But definitely washing this with a mild detergent. I would maybe spray like a 80% alcohol over it and let it sit for at least 24 hours to fully dry. You should be changing these filters. If you work an 8-hour shift, you need to change the filters once a day. You just have to. That does get, possibly pricey having to buy these filters. But if you are working and wearing these all day at work, I would change this filter once a day. But for me, I go out the house maybe once a week. So I probably could have these filters last. They come with 12. So I could easily have these last nearly 6 months probably, just because I don't wear them very long. So just keep those different things in mind as well. So this is $30. It comes with a mask and 12 filters. So realistically, that's 12 weeks of filters if you wear these. I'm sorry. Yeah, actually 12 days if you wear these for work every day. So it could get pricey. I definitely want people to keep that in mind. I have not read a lot about sanitizing the filters. That's something I'm looking into. I don't know how efficacious that is in terms of protection. But yeah, if you have switched these out every day, that becomes, this is only 12 days worth. So you would need several of these. And the 12, I believe, are $15. So you would probably need at least 3, so about $45 a month for these filters. So, that's not cheap, but, maybe rearrange some things in your budget. I definitely have a lot of talks on how people can make extra money on the side if you're working from home, just to, generate those few dollars just to cover things like masks. And more affordable options for families with multiple children. Vistaprint. Vistaprint makes masks as well. They're called the True Mask. And I bought one for my husband and I bought one for my stepdaughter. So they do have ones for kids. These were, I believe the mask was 18 for adults and about 14 for children. So those are pretty good prices. And they come with 10 filters. These filters have a nanotechnology in terms of how they're woven. So these again are, I would say, pretty efficacious in terms of protecting you. Definitely limit your time in enclosed places. I'll definitely talk a little bit more about mitigation in a moment outside of just wearing masks. But the VistaPrint masks are good as well. This is my husband's, and these fit well. So we're definitely going to be using VistaPrint filters or Honeywell filters in these masks. We're still using our other ones right now. I would show those, but I really didn't want to show people the ones that they could not buy right now. The minute those become available, I'll definitely share that out on my social media, because I believe those have been probably our saving grace in a lot of this, and wearing the mask that we use daily now. So the filters that come in this are similar to Honeywell. They're a little bit smaller. This is the kid size filters. So it's pretty small for my daughter's mask. So we put one of these in here and switch it out. She's here, not every day. So we can, stretch out the filters a little bit more for her. But for ourselves, we would definitely be switching those out daily for him because he works every day. So outside of masks, what else can you do to protect yourself? So I know people who work with the public are already, required to wear some of these in their workplaces, but these are the face shields. And we wear these in addition to the mask. So why are face shields helpful? There's evidence that those people who wear glasses, they looked at a number of people who had COVID, and what they found is that most of the cases are people who don't wear any type of eye protection. So eye protection meaning like glasses or goggles or sunglasses, something that covered their eyes when they were out and around other people. So COVID isn't just something that's inhaled, that's one way route into the body, but other mucosal membranes like the eyes. I haven't heard much about the ears, but the eyes for sure are a gateway into the body. So that's why they tell you keep your hands away from your face if they are not sanitized. So this will not only help you not touch your face so much, but also direct droplet or particulates coming towards you when you're out in public. So what's important when it comes to buying the face shields is that it needs to come at least to about the ear. It needs to cover the entire side of the face to really truly protect your eyes if you don't wear glasses. I do wear glasses, and I wear this with my glasses as well. So I wear all of this when I go out. Especially with flu season coming. If you don't want to get the vaccine, I definitely understand the reservations around that, but I would definitely think of ways to better protect yourself than just a cloth mask. I understand, money, things are costly, but if you can't afford it, try to get one of those masks that I'll have linked. They have sales. I do cashback programs through Rakuten, so other ways to get money back. So these face shields, I got 2 for $20. So these are about $10 each. I just wipe these down with an alcohol wipe or some other germicidal wipe after each use and hang it up. So I believe these are helpful. So I really just try to combine as much PPE as I can on top of social distancing and on top of not going to crowded places. I stay home as much as possible. I know that's not, realistic for everyone, but, if you must go out and do things, just try to think of other ways to protect yourself. Other tips that we do in our home is we take off all our outside clothing at the door, and we let it just air out, so we have a few changes of clothes up there. Shower, wash our face. I typically wash my hair if I don't have it covered by something when I come home. Wash it. The virus itself can get into your hairs, on your skin. So try to bathe and things like that when you come from, the grocery store, or work, or just being out around other people. So if you have any questions, feel free to send those to me. I just wanted to share some information about what's out there, what you can use. There's tons of masks on the market. So if you have questions about a particular one, send me a link and I'll read through it and let you know what I think about it. I work in public health. I am not an epidemiologist nor a virologist. I don't study viruses, but I do study public health and how viruses spread in communities. So I do have a background in that and epi. So I have a general understanding of the burden of pandemics, and how we can best protect ourselves. So, send me any questions you have. I don't want to make this too long, but I hope this was helpful and beneficial for you. So, thank you so much. And yeah, I don't see any questions. So, enjoy your weekend and pick up those masks, social distance. Definitely, I know the holidays are coming and we want to be around our families. But, the general guidance is that you should have holidays with the people you live with. Um, how can we trick or treat? Given that it's Halloween and masks are just like, the best thing out there, cover your face, you're supposed to look scary. If you can wear a mask with your outfit, do it. I think everyone just keep the mask on. If you're trick or treat in pods where with people you live with. So if you're going, just you and your kids, and you trick or treat. Don't go pick up kids from other households and things like that. That's how you have the chain happen. Like one person has COVID, they pick up someone else from another house, they get in the car, and then that child goes back home and takes COVID back to their house where it may not be right now. So definitely trick or treat with the people that you live with. For people who are passing out candy, if you can avoid direct contact with trick or treaters, I would advise that. But if you want to have direct contact, you need to have on a mask the entire time. I would definitely say if you're wearing a surgical mask, that's another thing I want to touch on. Surgical masks are not meant to be worn for over 30 minutes. I know that's not a guidance they want to give out because we understand that, these things cost money, but surgical masks do not have the efficacy. The ones that we're kind of buying for non-medical use are not meant to be made for 8 hours. The efficacy drops dramatically. The way it's created, it wasn't made to be worn for a long amount of time. So there are surgical masks, like medical grade surgical masks that doctors wear for like surgery. That's different. The ones that we're buying off market that are not medical grade are not made for like those 8-hour procedures that doctors do. So definitely switch those out as much as you can. There's a lot of those masks on Amazon and Walmart for like 50 for like $30. So those are very helpful for things like passing out candy. Should we clean the candy when we get home? Yes, that's another thing. Our family still wipes down everything that comes in this house. So I shop at Trader Joe's twice a month, and we wipe down everything with alcohol and let it sit before we bring in. I know they downplay surfaces as a means of transmission, but that's definitely been debunked. That surfaces are definitely still a way of catching COVID. Like touching a surface that has COVID on it, and then touching your mouth or your eyes, that is a way to contract it. So we definitely wipe things down. So I would advise parents, if you can, to just take out the candy and do a spritzing of alcohol, and let it sit for a few minutes, and then let the kids eat it. And of course, sanitizing their hands before they start eating the candy. Um, yeah, so I know that's work, but it's a way to protect you and your family, and while still enjoying enjoying Halloween. So thank you for that question, babe. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me. I hope that was helpful. I know it's taking a few minutes out of your day to do these additional things, but I believe in the long run, it makes a difference. Trust me, there's days I bring home groceries, I don't want to wipe them down, but I think whatever's on this box, let me just go ahead and wipe it. It takes 2 seconds. I do work from home, so I do have the advantage of that. I'm always here, so it's easier for me to stay on top of sanitizing surfaces and wiping packages down and things like that. So things that come in the mail, we wipe those down. We use gloves, then we go wash our hands. So it's definitely labor intensive, but so far so good. I've been tested for COVID several times in the past few months, so as my husband. We've both been negative, thank goodness. So that's part of my daily monthly routine is a COVID test now, while it's still available. So um, thank you. And if you would like me to do more of these, more research that I've done about COVID in terms of what they found out about what it does in the body, how to protect yourself outside of mass, why alcohol instead of Clorox? I would say because unless it's a hard surface. So if you're using a Clorox wipe, try to use on something that's not porous, such as a food container, because that can't seep through the container into the food. So alcohol, it evaporates a little bit more quickly, and it isn't something to be as worried about ingesting. But I typically try to just use things that are like germicidal wipes, like Clorox, on things that are not edible. Some or if it or like maybe a cereal box where it's a box and then the bag, I wouldn't be as concerned about, or if you're going to remove the food from that container later on and not keep it inside. But something porous like a bag of broccoli, like fresh broccoli that's bagged, I wouldn't use a Clorox wipe on. I would just use like an alcohol wipe. Another thing, if possible, you can just let stuff sit for a number of days before using it, to let the virus die if you don't want to use those type of things on your food, or food containers, which is understandable. Some things that can just be left out and then over time it'd be safe to use. But I know things that we're going to use immediately, like maybe some yogurt. I'll just wipe that down with like an alcohol wipe real quick and then, eat it. If I'm just hungry right after I get done shopping or something like that. I know alcohol was hard to come by for a while. I know it's back in stores now. We stocked up a while ago. So maybe just get a few bottles of alcohol and keep that on hand. But yeah, like Clorox wipes, like maybe I order like a foundation from Sephora. I'll wipe that down with Clorox because I'm not going to ingest it and it's in a glass bottle. It should be fine. Um, yeah, so I hope that answered your question. I know I heard a lot of, epidemiologists saying that they thought that was, too much for people to do. Like, oh, that's not necessary or it'll make you sick. I would definitely say just don't use germicidal wipes on porous surfaces like food containers that, allow things through that plastic. I would not use it on plastic. Maybe like cardboard with a bag inside or something that is glass or a hard surface that's not porous. Yeah. So it's habitual now. Like my husband said, it's not COVID's not going to go anywhere for a long time. It may be something like influenza where it becomes endemic, that it happens or resurfaces every year for the rest of our lives now. Hopefully we do build some type of resistance to it. Our bodies are pretty smart. Um, but this could be something that we have for a very long time, and we have to build new behaviors around that. Health behaviors are hard to change. Look at the way we eat. It's hard to change the way we eat. So asking people to now wear a mask every day, and remember to sanitize items coming into the home, and limiting the number of people coming in your home, and maybe not having holidays where the whole family gets together. That's a behavior change that we have to adjust to, and it's not easy. But in the long run, we may have to. This may be something that we deal with for the rest of our lives now. I hope not, but we didn't really do enough to stop the spread to make that true. So just changing our behaviors and making it part of everyday life so it doesn't feel like such a burden. Um, yeah. So thank you, and I hope this was helpful. I know I said that like three times, but some questions is coming in. But I could definitely do this again and talk a little bit more about a little bit more technical information about what COVID is and what it does, and the impact that it could have, and especially for the Black community. I think it's been severely understated on how it impacts us. And why I want our community to be as vigilant as possible when it comes to this. Um, so, yeah. So thank you so much, and if that was any more questions, you can send me a message, and I can hop back on another day and talk a little bit more about what COVID is and what it does. I have a YouTube channel called Stories Corner, where I'll be uploading these live videos as well as other videos about other topics. I don't talk just about COVID. I talk about my consulting firm called Reframe Consulting. I do implicit bias trainings for organizations and individuals. I also talk about things that I just like enjoy: makeup, skincare, food, things like that. So thank you. Enjoy your weekends. Stay safe. Keep your vitamin D levels up. There's a lot of evidence around that and how COVID affects the body when you have a low vitamin D level. So keep your vitamin D levels up. Move, stay hydrated, and definitely take care of yourself. Okay. Thank you.